Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here with another Adventures in Locksmithing. Continuing on with the Nightmare Cars. If you saw that picture and you couldn't tell what that was an '09 Ford Focus. It's kind of hard to tell when it's missing its bumper. Now this is a car that they came to my house and asked for. And these are individuals who live close to me, so and at first, the car, they were like, well, it's on the street. If you turn right, it's Kimberly, but if you turn left, it's a different name. And it's not the first house on the street, but it's another house on that street. Can you go out there and make a key for it? And this is out in the country, where there's no cell reception. It's like, this is a bad address. And I'm like, well, I can get out on this morning. And I was truly banking on the fact that I had jury duty that morning and I was going to get out of it. Now, these are my neighbors. I knew if I had to last minute cancel, I could. Sure enough, I got jury duty. And maybe I'll talk about that in another video because that was a frustrating thing. In fact, yeah, I'll probably do a video about that because that was pretty hilarious. But I'll probably have to wait a while to do that, just because there was a lot of things that they said that we couldn't talk about, even though I wasn't selected for the jury. Probably should wait because that was a pretty serious case, and they probably don't want any information leaked out about it until that's all taken care of, and it's going to take a couple weeks for that to do. But anyways, back to this Ford Focus. So in the time between when they asked me to do it and when I was able to get back to them, because then I'd come by, they weren't home, I came by again, and I was never able to get a hold of them to let them know that I couldn't come that morning. But when I finally got a hold of them, the car was at their house. So and I said, oh, you found the key? And she said, yeah, we found the key, but we need you to make a key for it. And I'm like, oh, you need an extra one? And she said, no, we've lost the key again. So they'd found the key, brought it home, and lost it again. And I'm like, well, it's cheaper to make an extra, so do you think maybe you might find it in the next day or two like you did last time? Oh no, there's no way she's ever going to find this key this time. I'm like, really? Because that's what you said last time. But anyways, I go out there, and this car is hot, it is dirty, nasty. It's not sticking up bad like some of the other ones, but it's dirty. And it's just super hot out, and it's sitting out there in the sun, and I just, it got to me. Now, there's a thing about Ford Focuses. Locksmiths joke that every Ford Focus has 1,000 turns in the ignition, and then it fails, because every Ford Focus ignition fails. And this one, even when I had it done, it was really rough to put the key in and out. The ignition probably won't last much longer. And this is a flaw defect. And there's 3 things that are defective with a Ford Focus ignition. By '09, they had fixed one of those. And if you got a replacement one, it fixes one of those. But like I said, there are 3 things that fail on this ignition. And we have an aftermarket one that we put in from ASP that fixes 2 of the 3 things. The third one is never going to get fixed. Nobody's going to fix that. But it's just a messed up one. So it was janky even after I had a working key. At first I thought I didn't because it wouldn't turn in the ignition. And I got it to turn. And I had to squirt a lot of lube down that ignition and just get it working. But anytime I get a call for a Ford Focus, lost key, I always get skeptical because Ford Focuses are notorious for having bad ignitions, and then you're trying to make a replacement key, and even when you have the right key, it doesn't work because that lock was so worn and that key was so worn, it was working, but the moment you try to put in a new cut key, it won't work. And the other thing I'll have people will do is when their ignition fails, instead of calling to get a repair on the ignition, they think it's cheaper to get a replacement key, So they'll call somebody out and ask them for a replacement key when really all they need is to have their ignition replaced, which is actually cheaper, especially if you have a key that sometimes works. It is a whole lot cheaper to replace the ignition than it is to create a new key from scratch, especially since once you're done with that, the ignition still won't turn, and you end up having to replace the ignition in addition. So that's, once again, just more adventuring and locksmithing. They're my neighbors, was happy to help them out, got it working and good, and kept record of it because it sounds like they're going to lose it a lot, so that way I'll be ready the next time. Anyways, this is just some more adventuring and locksmithing, and if you have a Ford Focus and it hasn't had its ignition changed since once you bought it, go see a locksmith and get a replacement ignition, because it's going to fail, and it's going to be working perfectly fine and then just not work one day. So don't be caught off guard. Get that replaced. Anyways, have a good day.